Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, entitled host tried to keep me from eating at nice restaurant. If you want to speak Spanish, go back to Mexico. Entitled hotel guest parks their truck in a non-parking spot while blocking others in. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled host tried to keep me from eating at nice restaurant. So, my wife, Zena, and I made reservations for a very nice restaurant that opened up in January. However, due to it being posh, new, and apparently had excellent food, me wifey and myself had to wait until last week in order to get a spot there. So, we got a babysitter, and a nurse for my granny-in-law and got all dolled up to go. We took my wife's car, and since it was brand new, she didn't want anyone but herself to drive it. So, she dropped me off at the door, and went to park the car. Now, it's important to note that we did call earlier and confirm the reservation. So the host was there. Now, I am well dressed up. A nice suit, nice haircut, clean shaven, and nice shoes, looking like a man of culture, and not as the tradesman I normally am. I guess at this point, I should mention that I am not fully white. I'm Irish American on my dad's side, but, more importantly, I am also half Cuban that comes from my mom's side. While I do mostly look like my father, I have darker skin, brown eyes, and black hair like my mother's side of the family. From the way the host looked at me, I just knew this was going to be a problem. He had the face of a man that was witnessing a dog taking a dump on the carpet, and scrunched his nose like he was smelling its crap. That I was thinking I should wait for my wife, since the reservation was under both of our names. But he spoke first. Entitled host, can I help you? His tone clearly stated that he didn't even want to look at me. Me, while trying to pretend not to notice, yes, there is a reservation under Phil and Zena, last names. The looked at the list. He was clearly not really reading it. No, I don't see your names here. Now, I experienced this sort of crap my entire life. So, I try to remain as polite and professional as possible. Me, check again. My wife called and confirmed the reservation. He checks again, shaking his head. No. There is no one here under that name. Mayhaps you and your wife are at the wrong restaurant. Yeah, I knew arguing with this guy was going to get me nowhere. So, I just wished him a good evening, turned around, and walked right outside. Zena was just about to enter the building as I was coming out. Zena, what's the matter? So, I explained about how racism was being a pain again, and she sighed. Zena sighed, what do you want to do? Me, well, we got the reservation, and a night to ourselves. I want to try the food here, and I refuse to let that snot get in the way of that. So, you go in, confirm the reservation, and then I'll come in. I hate to say it, but it's a tactic we had to use in the past in order to get into restaurants. I should mention that my wife is white, hence why we did this. Most cases, it's just the host that gives us the problems. If it's the service as a whole, we would leave a poor review. Still, it's fun in a way. It's still fun to see me wifey go in, get us our table, and then me walking in to sit with her. The host looked like he swallowed something really sour as I sat down across from my wife. I half expected him to say something, but he just turned his head away. The service was lovely, the waiter we had was polite and quick, and the food was wonderful. But every so often, the would look over at us, and just frown. I saw him turn away two more couples that weren't up to his standards. Well, our evening was still wonderful. Despite the nasty looks we got, we still enjoyed our food. Of course, my wife called the owners and let them know what the host did and tried to do to us. She let the owners know that she will not tolerate such intolerance from a man that was turning away business. She added that such a host would eventually cause the restaurant to get a terrible reputation, and they would get into a lot of trouble over it. Well, 1 week later, I was talking to some neighbors and found out that the EH was no longer working there. Rumor has it that he turned away over 200 customers, not sure if it was true or not, and got fired over this. They hired someone that was much nicer, though Zena and I wouldn't find out until November when we go back again. Still, it's not the first time, nor the last time, that this will happen to me. Yet, it's still nice to see racist people like that getting wrecked in the end. I hate when people act all high and mighty as if their sh*t didn't stink. The worst part is that I am used to it happening. It's strange he didn't recognize that your wife gave the same name you did, since the residential was obviously under a specific name. My wife is white and I have a white last name. He saw both of that and didn't assume she was married to me. I was glad you put in a complaint. It hurts my heart to read so often that people don't do that. For me, it's a sign how exhausted they must be from the constant hassle, and I don't blame them. But it makes me sad. They've given up. Not just on the world, but on themselves, and that means, the have beat them. I'm happy when I'm reading about people who fight. And I use all my hidden Karen power to lend support when I observe stuff like this happening. I make people like that hoping the next customer will be Mexican, Cuban, black or a Martian, anyone but me. I do so in the hopes they'll learn to appreciate nice customers and who really to despise by showing them a foaming, spitting image of true nastiness in white skin. But only those who deserve it. To all the others who at least try, I'm an angel as much as I can. Reminds me of a issue I have. I'm a sailor and live aboard, so keeping nice clothes is rather hard. But they pay me food stipend money like I dance on a pole, so while I can afford it I keep it simple. One day I decide to go to this ritzy place by Lake Union in Seattle, Washington. I got clean jeans, shoes, and a button-up. Still look ratty, but I walk up. Door guy looks at me, questions even if I might be a dine and dash type. Finds out I got a reservation, begrudgingly lets me in. I ask for a seat with a view and the hostess does. She gives me the dish pit view, citing the lake side view is taken, annoyed, but whatever. Order their coffee, steak and potatoes. Whole time, see the host mumbling and pointing, standing close to the door making sure old hobo looking me doesn't scurry off. Meal comes out. Microwave steak, instant mashed potatoes with sh*t grade butter, asparagus, coffee was Folgers. They do a pony show to show the steak was rare. Like no sh*t you microwaved it. Literally watched the cook do it. Meal was sh*t, but I was hungry and already there. Waitress walks up, sigh, so are you paying credit or debit? I smile saying cash. I fumble my wallet out and as I said. I get paid like as if I walk around to Hell on Wheels on a stage. I had $2,000 in my wallet as comically I used a small bank and sending all of it will automatically fly red flags. Suddenly, OU became SIR. I asked if they thought I was poor or stupid. Because I got basically leftovers while the asshole guest got fresh. I got treated like a vagrant bum and I wasn't. cool with that and left an honest review. Wow, that's horrible, just pretending you don't have a reservation and trying to turn you away. Good thing you told the owners. I'm imagining that turning away judges, city councilmen, personal friends of the mayor, or the mayor himself, CEOs, and important businessmen expecting a working lunch with someone important in the city. That restaurant dodged a bullet. I am angry on your behalf. Please know that most people are not like him. He is just a miserable, now unemployed human being who isn't content wallowing in misery alone, so has to share it with others. I am as white as anyone could be, but my boyfriend is not. He is Portuguese/Japanese. In Hawaii he sometimes had problems. We live in Alaska and fortunately most Alaskans don't care what color or race you are, and most would call this jerk out for his actions. I hope you have many happy dates with your wife. 200 covers turned away. That's a lot of moolah to lose. I once heard someone say, who cares what they wear/what nationality they are, so long as they are kind to the staff and pay their bill. Good words to live by. The kind to the staff part 1 feel is most important and often overlooked. I'm Irish American on my dad's side, but, more importantly, I am also half Cuban that comes from my mom's side. While I do mostly look like my father, I have darker skin, brown eyes, and black hair like my mother's side of the family. If I owned that restaurant, I would not only let you in, but place you at a window table to show the world how hot my clientele are. That host was a total POS. Glad he got fired. I'd buy you some fancy wine if you did that. If you want to speak Spanish, go back to Mexico. This didn't happen to me, but I was lucky enough to witness. My great-aunt and uncle own a large portion of land in northern Wisconsin, which is about a 4-hour drive from where my parents, siblings, and I were living at the time. They had built a few cabins on the land, and every summer we used to go up there and stay for about a week. There was a gas station/casino located on the Oneida Reservation about halfway between our place and my aunt and uncle's place, and since it was a rather long drive, we would always make a point to stop there to refuel, use the restroom and grab snacks. Occasionally my parents would put a few bucks into the slot machines. On one such trip, we made our usual midway pit stop, grabbed our snacks and waited in line to pay. I must emphasize that this was on the Oneida Reservation, and the 2 people were behind the counter were Native American. When it was just one guy in front of us, one of the cashiers started ringing him up. While he was doing that, his coworker asked him something in a language other than English. The guy in front of us lost it at that and shouted, "This is America. We speak English. If you want to speak Spanish, go back to Mexico." The cashier just looked at him and said, "This is an Oneida Indian reservation. We were speaking Oneida. If you want to speak English, go back to England." The guy's face just turned red, he slammed his money on the counter and stomped out. Really? How ignorant can someone be? Oh, I remember this happening to my now fiancé. He was speaking to me in Korean in a grocery store, and some old white woman said that he should stop speaking that jibber jabber in America, because we're in American. We speak English here. My fiancé is only half Korean, so with his sunglasses on he looks like your average white man. But he took off his sunglasses and showed his slanted eyes to the woman, and she was heavily confused because she didn't know what he was. But my fiancé said, "I don't know how you are able to fit your foot in your mouth, your head up your ass and your nose in my business, but here we are. It's a miracle," with a grumpy old man stare. I love him, LOL. That is a great line. Love it. I had that happen when I was learning and speaking Japanese. I was talking to a cousin of mine who is Japanese Korean, so yeah, we were talking on the phone and some loony said we need to speak English. My cousin's first language is Japanese, she lives in Japan. I gave the guy a cold glare and said, Atama kuno baka disu ne. He didn't have time to respond as I stormed off. My cousin has asked if all Americans act like this. That response was perfection, lol. I thought so too. LOL. Sounds like northern Wisconsin. Yep. It's one of the few times I can honestly say I was actually ashamed of being from Wisconsin. Some people are so rude. When I hear people speaking another language, I find it fascinating. I wish I could speak a language fluently, other than English. Same here. Exactly. Who looks down at someone who is multilingual? Americans are AHs. Speaking as one. Well done, sir. As someone who works at a casino, I see many different cultures come through. And to me that is awesome. That response needs to be used more often. Hey, pretty much everything is historic native lands in North America. We could use it anywhere. Ah, the classic EP line of, This is America. We speak English. Best response. Racist people. Entitled hotel guest parks their truck in a non-parking spot while blocking others in. Recently stayed at a hotel for a friend's wedding. Morning after the wedding, my so and I went to our car to drive home. Our car was parked at the end of the lot and there was a car parked next to ours, so the only way to get out is to back out. Of course, there is a pickup truck parked behind our car and the car next to ours. There is some space, but not enough to get out. Even in our tiny Prius. Mind you, the pickup truck is parked in a spot that is not an actual parking spot. They just decided to park in a random spot while blocking people in. They also parked a few feet away from the curb on the other side. If they had simply parked closer to the curb, we would have had enough room to maneuver out. I go to the hotel front desk to let them know. They come out and write down the license plate to see if they can match it with the sheets people provide with vehicle information. No luck there, so they asked me if I would be willing to wait until they reached out to people who had checked in since we checked in the previous day who did not leave vehicle information. I told them absolutely not. We were already delayed 20 to 25 minutes, so not going to wait around for who knows how much longer because some entitled jerk decided to park wherever they felt like. Asked them to get a tow truck as soon as possible. Tow truck came in about 10 minutes and we were on our way to pick up our dog. If the truck was blocking you and another in, why wasn't their first response to call a tow truck? I understand if they could find the owner and warn them their truck was going to get towed if they didn't move it right now, but wanting to wait to see if they could find the truck owner amongst those who didn't leave vehicle info was so wrong. Good for you to insist on it getting towed ASAP. Maybe they didn't want to deal with telling a customer their car got towed. I was trying not to be a jerk to them since it's not their fault. At the same time though, patience was running thin when they made the suggestion. I had a slight headache, was a bit tired and ready to pick my dog up and be home. I tend to have a bit too much of a good time at weddings. You're so entitled as to block other vehicles in so you can be an asset, well. Too bad, so sad. Surprised no one else had complained before you. Oh well, they played a stupid game and won a stupid prize. And now they pay a stupid tax to get their truck out of impound. A couple of years ago I was in northern Italy. I go to Italy frequently as it is a neighboring country and I speak basic Italian. I was staying at a nice old private hotel, very charming. Small village, not a town. I arrived pretty early in the afternoon and was told to park my car in a private hotel parking spot at the end of the property. Didn't think anything, just did it. There were maybe 6 parking spaces altogether. It was a cul-de-sac. Went to the pool and relaxed. In the evening I wanted to go and eat something and take my car to the neighboring village. I went to fetch my car and was flabbergasted. There were plenty of cars parked on the property, basically blocking in every single car that was parked in an assigned parking space. Maybe 5 to 6 cars would have to move so I could get to my car. No space at all for a towing truck to move. I googled a towing company nevertheless, and the next one was 20 minutes away and they were already closed for the evening. I went to reception and they just shrugged their shoulders and told me to just walk to another restaurant. Apparently this was normal. The rest of the guests were apparently parking in the adjoining street. I had a nice evening, but inside I was fuming. The next morning I was planning a day trip and wanted to leave early, immediately after breakfast. Parking situation was slightly better, but 3 cars still blocked my car. Before breakfast I went to reception and told them I needed my car in 30 minutes. They just told me that this was unrealistic and that there was nothing they could do. Just shrugged it off. I went to the breakfast room, took a spoon and banged against a glass to get everyone's attention. I told everybody nicely to please get up and move their cars if they are blocking somebody. Nobody moved. And to do it now because I couldn't guarantee cars wouldn't get damaged because I would try and get my car out. 2 guys finally got up, grunt-led. When I checked after breakfast, the last blocking car was about to move. Apparently they had woken up the guests to move the last car. I got some very nasty looks from staff. When I came back in the evening, I parked my car in the street. Afterwards I left a very bad review and checked the other reviews more closely. There were many top ratings, because the hotel and the garden and the pool and the breakfast were really great, but also quite a few 1-star ratings, all because of the catastrophic parking situation. I still don't understand the logic of letting guests park on the property where they block other guests instead of telling them to park in the street. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.